Mr. Hosein, are you trying to say that the goal of the New World Order is to create greater Israel in Middle East?
When viewed from the perspective of eschatology, the movement from PAX Britannica to PAX Americana to PAX Judaica is meant to allow a state of Israel to become a ruling state in the world, to claim to be the holy Israel of David and of Solomon, Allah's blessings be upon them. If and when that is achieved, then a man will stand up in Jerusalem, and our Prophet, Allah's blessings be upon him, had described him. He would be a Jew. He would be a young man. He'd be powerfully built. He'd have the curls that the Orthodox Jews have at the side of their head. And that man will declare in Jerusalem, I am the Messiah. I am the Messiah. We in Islam, and you in Christianity, we know that the Messiah is Jesus, the son of a woman who was a virgin. Only once in history did a virgin give birth to a child and yet remain virgin. There won't be another kind. So there's only one Jesus, only one in all of history. He is the Messiah. And so this man, who is not the son of the Virgin Mary, and who stands up in Jerusalem to declare, I am the Messiah, would be the false Messiah, or what the Christians call the Antichrist. This is our eschatological explanation of the movement of history to that end of history.
When the end time comes, will some Christians accept that false Messiah as their prophet?
Yes. Oh yes. There's one part of the Christian world which has aligned itself, made an alignment with one part of the Jewish world. And they are the Judeo-Christian Zionist Alliance. They control power in the Western world. And these Christians, who strangely don't seem to have any problem with a man marrying another man and getting a marriage certificate. No? These Christians will accept him as the Messiah. And so too would those Jews. But there are other Christians who are not like that. Other Christians who still, their hearts are with Jesus, not with Santa Claus. These Christians whose hearts are with Jesus, not with Santa Claus, these Christians will still have eyes with which to see. And they will be able to recognize, no, this is not the Messiah. This is not Jesus, the son of the Virgin Mary. This is an impostor. This is the Antichrist. And there would be Jews as well. There would be Jews as well who would say, no, this cannot be Holy Israel. Not at all. This cannot be Holy Israel. This cannot be the Messiah. Those Jews who have eyes with which to see will then recognize that what the Christian has been saying and what the Muslim has been saying is correct. That this is the Antichrist or the false Messiah.
In the end times, will there be honorable Jews that would reject the Messiah?
The true Messiah is Jesus. When he came, part of the Israelite people accepted him as the Messiah. and part rejected him. When he comes back, part of the Christian world will accept him, but part of the Christian world will reject him, because they would have accepted the false Messiah. That is the Zionist part of the Christian world.
But even today, there are some Jews that reject the idea of Israel ruling over Middle East and the world.
That's right, there are Jews who are not Zionists. And there are Christians who are not Zionists. When I find a Christian who is not a Zionist, and I find a Jew who is not a Zionist, then I, as a Muslim, would look to see, does he have a profile in which he opposes the oppressor? Then that is a true Christian, and he is my brother. Does he have a profile in which he opposes the oppressor? Then that is a true Jew, and he is my brother. But when I find a Christian supporting the oppressor, and I find a Jew who is supporting the oppressor, I know where they come from. They come from the Judeo-Christian Zionist alliance. Yeah.
The New World Order has failed in Syria with their attacks on government of Bashar al-Assad. Do you maybe think that the Lebanon will be the next target of imperialist aggression?
It is possible. They are fishing at this time. Perhaps it's the last fishing trip of all, because they've been fishing for a long time now to try to provoke Sunni-Shia civil war in the House of Islam. But now with the schoolboy in charge of Saudi Arabia, and a schoolboy who is the son-in-law of Trump as his close friend, it is possible, very possible, that they may seek one last time to provoke Sunni-Shia civil war with an attack, or launch an attack on Lebanon. If that happens, if they launch an attack on Lebanon, then I can only pray to the Lord God that he may save us from Sunni-Shia civil war. Because once Sunni-Shia civil war takes place, the House of Islam is divided, then Israel will have a chance to wage the big war she's already planned.
In light of possible future Sunni-Shia war, how do you view the conflict between the Qatar and Saudi Arabia?
Saudi Arabia and Qatar are bedfellows. They were both actively involved in supporting the bogus jihad in Syria with ISIS, both of them. Supported also by Turkey. But it failed. It failed. And Qatar is more exposed than Saudi Arabia to an attack from Iran. And Qatar does not want to place herself in such a vulnerable position. And so Qatar is not prepared to go along with Sunni-Shia civil war. Qatar will participate in the bogus jihad to a certain limit. But Qatar wanted to ensure that she had some kind of an insurance to protect herself if war breaks out with Iran. Turkey also realized the writing on the wall, but Russia was not going to back down. No. And so Turkey has had to have a somersault, acrobatics, changing its policies overnight because of the seriousness of the Russian intervention. And now we see Turkey dancing to a different tune than previously. Otherwise, Turkey was the conduit through which fighters were coming into Syria from Turkey, from all over the world. Yeah, all over the world. So I doubt whether Qatar is going to back down, and I doubt whether Turkey will back down in its support for Qatar. So if war breaks out, there is a possibility that when war breaks out, if it breaks out in Lebanon, then there might be an attack on Qatar as well. But that's the limit to my capacity to analyze. You need someone who has expertise in military analysis. Yeah.
You have you have told us already enough about that subject, because you, despite being a theologian, you have a great knowledge in other fields, Mr. Imran. So we are thankful for your answer. How do you comment the